So Gloria's account got hacked today on Twitter, but that seems kind of like a distraction. I would treat it as genuine. A Chow confirmed it was a hack, but her bio now reads Bitcoin decides, Solana executes. Now I'm not saying this to be funny and make a silly dunk, but obviously she has that stuff in her history of being an ICO educator, and it makes sense that she would return to that, because she never became a Bitcoiner, right? She showed nothing but disgust for people that occupy this space, right? Calling us rednecks and narrow-minded redneck carnivore, whatever that list of insults was she threw at us. There was never a, oh, I was wrong about them. It was always, oh, I was wrong about how the software worked, and this is kind of cool. But there was never any cohesion, right? And anytime she ever interacted with the community, it was always just mockery and condescension. And she found a good home with the other Bitcoin developers and exposed the culture that goes on there and how divorced it is from the people that actually use this software. I don't want to speak for all Bitcoiners, but I do think it's for disenfranchised people that get rejected from the norms, because a lot of Bitcoiners just got kicked out of other systems. That was the whole appeal of it at the beginning. We can't use PayPal. We can't buy and sell our product with credit cards. All of these, that was the payment network aspect of it. And then there were all the people that weren't the middle class and down, who are like, well, the currency I'm using to save in is also stealing from me, so I want out of the system everyone else is a part of. It was always a countercultural thing. And to have people come in and just utterly shit all over you and mock you and for taking it so seriously as you do when you should, it's very annoying. And it was always indicative of someone that just, please get out of here. And it was never so much about competence, and I saw very little critique of Gloria's competence. And to be fair, most of the people that have been throwing stuff at her for months, over a year, were not making comments about her ability as a developer, right? And that's fair enough. People did stay in their lane. But it looks, now that she's had this hack, which is obviously poetic justice, because so much of the rationale for knots being terrible, don't run knots because Luke got hacked, therefore you can't trust him. Gloria has the keys to the Bitcoin GitHub, the core GitHub, and she can merge anything with her account. If she can't keep her Twitter safe, then can she keep the GitHub safe? Who knows, right? If she did merge a bunch of malicious stuff, I doubt that it would take long before people would catch on and quickly revert the code and get rid of it. But the point is, there are expectations around security here, which are fair enough. But at the same time, I'm human. I know that accidents happen. She's high profile. She'll get targeted. And in this case, I'm not here to hold her feet to the fire. I'm just here to hold up a mirror and say, you guys spent ages mocking the fact that Luke got hacked. It can happen to anyone. She got hacked too. And what I really will remark upon is the fact that it should be a bit more obvious, because the context in which she's pumping a bunch of stuff to do with scam coins is one in which we look on her GitHub, and as far as I know, this is new today. I don't know otherwise, but she says, as of 2026, I am not employed as a full-time developer. I keep this page open for those who wish to support my contributions to Bitcoin. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's new or not. But I think that to me says she's no longer funded by either Chaincode or Brink. I don't know who exactly was the funder for Gloria, but I always felt like someone's head was going to have to roll given all the controversy. Like I said, last year was philosophical differences about direction for Bitcoin. What's it for? What is money? Is Bitcoin just money, etc.? Now it's competence. Are you literally able to maintain this software? Do you even have a professional attitude, or are you just going to chow? Are you just going to do half-assed approaches fixing the wallet deleting bug because you can't be bothered to fix a test suite? Like, this is a new territory of embarrassment for Core, and that's happened since the start of the year. My last video, I was very I tried to be gracious and say that bugs happen to everyone, and this, some of what made this bug so bad made it into knots as well. So I can't be up here saying we're the greatest thing ever, and if you use knots, nothing ever goes wrong. I'm not trying to make those kinds of claims. But since I made that video, we see the conversation between Luke and Achao, where it's clear that not only was there a mistake, but you still just have that. It's not even arrogance at this point. It's not dismissing. It's not a lack of humility. It's literally just laziness, which is just completely unacceptable. And of course, it comes down to the fact that Bitcoiners take this project a lot more seriously than some of the people actually working on it. So more stuff regarding Gloria is, I always found, I don't know if she's out or not yet. I do know that the speculation that people can come at me for being wrong about is the only reason I'm making it is because everything is done non-transparently. Recently, she elected a new, completely familiarly minded spam apologist developer to become a maintainer of Bitcoin Core. And this happened last week, I believe. It might have been the week before. So great, more of the same old crap. Comes in, elected by her, and then she apparently is out right after that. So the implications of that are, look, we need a fall person because Core is really embarrassed right now. We've lost a lot of market share. There's a lot of sentiment against us. The price has done nothing but go down since we released Core 30. Might be somewhat coincidence. I have no idea, but it's not a good look. If the price had gone up since Core 30 and we hadn't had the wallet bug, I'm sure things would be feeling a lot more happy on that side of the fence. So that is, they had to yank Core. They had to pull Core 30. That's how bad it was due to the wallet bug. So everything is looking pretty bad. There's egg on their face, and we want to restore credibility generally to the whole project. This is embarrassing for everyone. Not users Core, right? It's not to the point where we're just completely dismissing it. It's still the dominant client, and it's still de facto basically what Bitcoin is. So all of that combined, you're now in this horrible political scenario where there's an agenda, but the agenda isn't the person on the stage explaining what they want to do, because they are not them. Gloria was an over-promoted result of a love interest and a conflict of interest, not just from John Newbery, but from Matt Corallo's DEI thing from 2019, wanting to get more women into Bitcoin development. Now, these are but two corrupt motivations. Neither of those things are meritocratic. They are anti-meritocratic by their very nature. So her being there is the result of those things, whether you like it or not. And she had no inclination towards Bitcoin. She was utterly open about this fact. She found Bitcoin revolting and was repulsed by its community and had no incentive to come and check it out until someone who was romantically interested in her not coerced her, but sort of coaxed her into it. And then, made her feel comfortable saying, look, man, don't worry about all these redneck, gross, ugly, narrow-minded carnivores. All right, she didn't call us ugly, but she did call us narrow-minded redneck carnivores. Like, come in and you'll find yourself quite welcome amongst the developers. And she did. And she managed to settle in quite nicely there, but she wasn't, frankly, socially apt enough to realize, don't vent your disgust of the community you're working for openly. Have the sense to keep it quiet. When you have, there's a lot of left-right culture war stuff in this. I think the left-right culture war is stupid. I fall into it as a trap a lot of the time, and I can't help it. Everyone is prone to tribal instincts, but we all know it's kind of stupid and it's all a stage. But in this case, you did have you had pretty standard culture war stuff left and right. And, you had a lot of the particular gender ideology stuff. And that's why you got Gloria and Achao went over to Blue Sky and were like, oh, Luke and his fans are all transphobes, right? Like, amongst Bitcoiners, you're typically not going to hear people complaining about transphobia, right? That's not, if you're going to look at it along the classic culture wars divide. But the point is, Achao is intelligent enough not to start venting the general frustration he has with those kinds of Bitcoiners, because it's just going to create nothing but issues. But Gloria would just come out guns blazing. You're all complete idiots. Like, just utter mockery and disrespect. And I empathize because she's now in a situation, presumably, where she's been put on a stage, made to carry out an agenda that is clearly, I mean, look, here's the point that I think it's a bit of psychologizing, so bear with me. I don't think there's anyone that can handle the kind of cognitive dissonance you can have. Being some mid-tier junior developer fresh out of college, working on some ICO class, and get inducted into being a maintainer on the most important software project of all time, surrounded by utter genius cryptographers, people like Peter Wooler, and actually think you're equal to the position you've been placed in. So naturally you do two things. One is you defer everything you possibly can to people up above you that know more than you, that are more experienced than you. That's just a natural instinct that everyone has anyway. You know your status and you are aware of where you are, and you defer to people that you look up to and respect, so long as they don't betray it. And that would be a pretty sensible thing to do. And this is why politicians are put where they are. They're put in situations where they have to constantly defer to other people that are really pulling the strings, that don't want to be on the stage. And what's so annoying about it is that we attack the politicians and go after them, and then we get another one with the same person behind the strings. This is why it's so stupid to have massive culture wars between Democrats and Republicans when the uniparty, the bipartisan agendas that both parties agree to, are the same no matter who you elect. Some people call it the deep state, but it's stupid to get tribal and hate your neighbor because they're a Democrat when you're a Republican, when either way both parties are utterly corrupt. So, but you just can't conveniently see who it is. It's really easy to hate Joe Biden and really easy to hate Donald Trump. It's a lot harder to hate people that are behind them when they are often just the same people. So in this case, the rot with Core is not Gloria. She's just become someone that we've been comfortable attacking. And at the end of the day, that is a divorce from humanity. She's just a human, and now if she's out, which I don't know the situation, she's presumably had a horrible time here. A lot of it is her own fault for not reading the room correctly and just constantly mocking people. But at the same time, I empathize with anyone that's going to learn a painful lesson. That sucks. Like, she's been working in this space. She has demonstrably worked hard and been utterly just dragged across the coals for something which is the responsibility of the whole institution of Core, not just her. And in fact, she's been made the mouthpiece. She was the one that had to click merge on, making op returns 100,000 bytes instead of 80. That was her that clicked that, and everyone goes after her for it. But at the end of the day, the fault does not lie solely at her feet. It's the entire thing that sucks. And unlike what I perceive of the side that will say, oh, Bitcoiners are all carnivores, redneck, idiot, transphobes, the side that says stuff like that is typically pretty comfortable dehumanizing people without their ideologies. They consider us Nazis, and the entire lore of the West since the early 1940s was violence is justified against Nazis because Nazis are the epitome of evil. And if you want the archetype of the evil man, it is Adolf Hitler. And this is the leftist fantasy, ultimately, which is we are peaceful, kind, loving people, and Nazis aren't. Therefore, we must kill and eradicate all of them. And it's a very important rhetorical approach. That's why they dubbed everyone that wanted to filter out spam from their mempools as Nazis, because that is the only group it's possible to dehumanize and murder at complete will. So I don't fall for that stuff. I know they are typically leftists and immature, let's say, but I empathize. I understand that Gloria has been chewed up and spat out, and she feels it sucks. And now if she's just self-yeeted, because I don't think anyone pushed her out, maybe they did. Again, the conversations between Chaincode, Brink, and the core devs, the inner circle, they don't make any of this stuff public anyway. So I'm out here tinfoil hat mode, making allegations, casting aspersions, And they can laugh at me and say he doesn't know what he's talking about. But what more do I have to go on? I don't know what's going on. You pretend to be transparent. You're not in the slightest, so I have to infer all this stuff. I don't think anyone pushed her out. I think it would have been too embarrassing. I think ultimately there's presumably some combination actually of we needed her to go, and someone needed someone needed to fall as a result of all the humiliation. We could have handled all the spam stuff if Core 30 hadn't been a complete train wreck with the wallet fiasco, but it's just too much to deal with. Someone's got to go. A head's got to roll. And there's a classic political move. There's been a screw up. Someone's got to resign. It doesn't even matter if that person was responsible for it. The people are out for blood. Let's satiate them. So that's the kind of situation that it seems to be to me. But that's only one aspect of it. Then there's also her saying, screw this, man. Every time I log onto Twitter, I've got 50 people all calling me horrible. I've got people making sexual innuendos about me. I'm just my past romantic life is being thrown in my face every time. This is a horrible thing for me to have to deal with. And I completely get that. So she might have just quit, but it's probably just going to be some combination of the two. Or maybe she hasn't even quit. I don't know. But I will further make the point that her bio being left with Bitcoin decides, Solana executes, everything else is noise, that is just where she was a few years ago in her mindset. And as far as I know, it hasn't changed at all. She still thinks that people that think Bitcoin is just money and that people using it for other purposes, i.e. data storage in general, are narrow-minded rednecks. She said that a while ago, but as far as I can tell, her disdain for people that hold that viewpoint has only worsened, rather than her start to understand that Bitcoin is amazing because of what it doesn't do, not because of what it does do. And adding features and doing interesting things and saying, it's not my place as a developer to judge this. I don't think that language has a place in this. All this kind of condescending HR speak, this, what do they call it? Suicidal empathy of let's let everyone do everything. Otherwise we're being mean to people. Like, again, all this is reminiscent of the stuff we hate that so many people are tired of in the insane leftist culture, right? So, but I'm just saying, I empathize. I do. I genuinely think that it's been a horrible experience and that she's been put at the front here for people to take shots at and scream boo and all that stuff. I felt like this in Canada with Justin Trudeau. Seriously, everyone hates the guy. He has absolutely no control. He's on stage as an actor saying, we are going to do this because Canada is this. And then he gets off the stage and he's just on a phone saying, yes, sir, no, sir, okay, sir. And then what? That's a 5-year-old boy. And he's up there, and then we're furious with him. You've ruined Canada. We want to kill him. We want to throw stuff at him. We want to blame him for everything. And then you just get someone else on the phone to the same dude saying, yes, sir, no, sir. And people call that conspiracy theory. It's not conspiracy theory. It's just the fact that elections don't have the significance people think they do. Politicians don't have the control people think they do. They get elected based on what they promise, not on what they're capable of. So it is a very political situation, and that's just the reality of it. I don't want to. That's neither a good thing nor a bad thing. It's just it is what it is, and I think her hack. I don't know whether I find it even particularly credible. A Chow confirmed that she was hacked, and I don't really see any point in trying to get too tinfoil hat about that. But her bio, saying Solana executes. If she's not doing Bitcoin development anymore, I don't see why she wouldn't signal to the world that she's ready to go and work on these scam coins. These scam coins are incredibly lucrative for developers to work on. And they gain a lot of credibility by poaching a developer from Bitcoin, not to mention a developer that used to be a maintainer of Bitcoin Core. That's huge. And so there can be something darker going on. I don't know how. Maybe she's a much worse person than I give her credit for, and maybe she installed one of her creatures right before she quit, and that was why she nominated this new maintainer, and that's someone that's going to carry out the same agenda, that isn't going to fall under the same scrutiny, that can fly under the radar, they hope. Maybe it's something insidious like that. I do find it very strange that right before she quits and this suspicious hack happens, that she added a new maintainer to Bitcoin Core, and that felt like a very rushed process. And what little we know about that dude is that he's exactly the same, you know, paid to engage and deal with copious amounts of cognitive dissonance, justifying the unjustifiable with regard to relaying absolute junk around the network, hoping that it somehow maintains some pointless metrics like block propagation speeds and fee estimation and things like that. All the same absolute garbage we've been hearing for ages. So we got another one of those in Bitcoin Core. She's gone, and I'm assuming that they hope this is enough to satisfy our bloodlust for how everything went wrong with Core. It's supposed to look, okay, things went bad, but we got rid of Gloria, now leave us alone. But I just hope we don't fall for anything that's stupid. It was never about Gloria, dude. People had fun making fun of her. People went far too far making fun of her. But it's nothing to do with her. She's just a figurehead. It's very easy to reach a Schelling point of Core is unacceptable and broken. Look at this and point at Gloria. But we know that the rot is deeper than that and behind her. Deeper, not behind. So anyway, that's my perspective on this. And I don't know what exactly they're going to make clear. They need to come out and establish something and some allude to a transparent process, make some effort in that regard. That would be appreciated here, but I don't expect it to happen. Core needs to burn. It's way beyond repair. And hopefully this year is the year that it's just over. BIP 110 is looking very promising. It's very professional, the people that are putting that together. I'm not really pushing for anyone to download anything right now. Obviously, you can't download Core 30. I think they have Core 30.2 out, but we saw the conversation with Chow and Luke, which was, I can't be bothered to fix this properly because I'm sick of legacy wallets breaking tests, so we found a workaround. Just complete. If you ever run Core again after this, that's on you. It's not just philosophically screwed up. It's the competence is clearly not there. So I'm not recommending Core to anyone. Am I recommending Knots? Not until the wallet stuff is fixed. It's on the way to being fixed. Luke is going to do a much better job. The other developers involved in Knots are working on it. It's going to be done professionally, okay? I'm fine with that. I genuinely don't think there's a way for Bitcoin developers to work unless they're prepared to sit there on Twitter, like Luke does, talking to random people that have random requests, explaining why he does things the way he does. That kind of feedback is how you build something genuinely good and for the users that are expected to use it, rather than the approach Core always took, which is we are doing this and you're an idiot and you're not technical if you don't agree with us. So, but anyway, back to the point. I'll recommend the next Knots version when it's out, and BIP 110, which is based on Knots but is not Knots. I will be recommending that as people's primary. That will be my primary recommendation once it's out of release candidate stage. Right now it's on release candidate 3. I did a GUIX build for it. I can attest to the fact that it's all kosher. I encourage you to do the same thing. Once it's out of release candidacy, I should say, then I'll be recommending it because that will contain the fixes for the wallets. No one in good conscience is recommending anyone run any node software right now until all the wallet stuff is fixed, and it still just isn't yet. So I'm not up here saying run Knots, though I'm known for that, but not until the wallet stuff's fixed. I just want this stuff to work better. I want to regain some credibility in the world and stop embarrassing ourselves collectively. I'm hoping 2026 is a vicious bear market, and I hope that cleans out all of the garbage that's been plaguing Bitcoin. I hope we get Peter Todd. I hope we get Jameson Lopp. I hope these guys just disappear at this point. They're doing nothing but harm. I want Adam back gone, hopefully with his overstretching himself with all these garbage treasury stocks that are clearly stressing out everyone involved in them, whether it's Lopp or Saylor even seems extremely uptight at the moment. I think all these people got in over their head, and I think Bitcoin needs to say, well, you've been investing in fool's Bitcoin, so it's time to trash you. And I hope to see it, frankly. I think people deserve to get... Bitcoin is not for people wanting to buy derivatives of Bitcoin. It's garbage. It's a deviation from the entire purpose of the project. I'm sick of people painting it in flowery language. I'm not buying proxies of Bitcoin via companies that can engage in financial, engineering to try and magic more Bitcoin out of thin air. It's all immoral shit, and it's why I'm in Bitcoin in the first place, is because I don't want to do stuff like that. Stay humble, buy Bitcoin with the money you actually have, and you'll do very well. You don't need to listen to these fairy stories told to you by these former heroes like Jack Mallers and Michael Saylor and people like that we all loved at one point, that are telling you, that are trying to sell you snake oil at the moment. Dump it, get the heck out of all that stuff, and hopefully this year cleans it all out and we get rid of all these parasites, and we can get things back on track among people that are actually in this for the moral purpose of the whole thing. And let that be the message. Thank you.